Hello guys, I wanted to come on because I posted a poll that I wanted to actually spark a little conversation on the channel as I was doing research on why your zodiac sign is alone based upon your zodiac sign. So why you're alone or why you're single, either or. I have some pretty interesting information, but we're going to start, and I put the poll out. I'm going to go through the poll and kind of read the results 3 days ago for those who don't know. And I'm not going to take them down. This is just going to be as of today that I'm posting this. So Aries, I asked you guys, this is what they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You are more than a handful than they originally thought. So Aries, 100% of the individuals who took this poll, which is only 13 people at this point, agree with this. Now, I'm going to place this back out because I want more individuals to do it. So I'm just going to give the poll results for each one. And then I'm going to end this. I'm going to do a part 2. And I'm going to end this because I want to create a dialogue. I'm really interested in what you guys have to say. If you ask me how I feel about this, this is actually what I have definitely noticed. There is this cool, calm demeanor or cool, calm, collected. I'm too busy. I'm too cool for school when it comes down to processing my emotions. And then when you deal with one, you realize that they're actually very sensitive. And I do agree that you definitely come off like you're more of a handful than the person that is connecting with you originally thought. We're going to move on to Taurus. Taurus, this is what they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You play it so cool in the beginning that your clinginess and neediness completely throws them off. Taurus, I love you guys. I am double Taurus in my chart, Venus and Mars. 31 votes is what we have on this one. 81% says yes, 19% says false. And I'm going to let you know I agree with this. And I'm going to tell you why. As a domicile Venus Taurus and a detrimented Venus Mars, we typically love before you do. I can't say that is true for everybody, but I feel that we know that we love, so we have to play it cool. And then when we become attached, it's very hard. We are fixed earth. So I do agree with this. I have a detrimented Mars in Taurus, which means that my issue is sometimes I don't know when to let go or know when to leave something alone. I know that we all struggle with that, but my Mars is in Taurus, so it's a slew of other things. I won't get into, all of them, but I do recognize that. And again, guys, all of this starts with knowing yourself. So this was very interesting. We're going to move on to Gemini. Gemini, this is what they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You're so nervous and filled with self-doubt that they are focused, that they are forced to have to end things before you do. 9 votes on this one. 67% says that's true. 33% says that is false. I agree to a certain extent. I don't know whether it's because of self-doubt and nervousness. I think that, in my opinion, Geminis just don't want to deal with the uncomfortable conversations. My ex-fiance had a Gemini moon, and his son has a Gemini moon, our son. And so a lot of the times they just have so many things in their head at one time. They feel like they want to end things before you or, have the uncomfortable conversation, but then they change their mind. And because there's these constant sides that's battling, I don't know if it 100% qualifies in Marve's expert opinion as self-doubt. I guess, but I think it's more indecisiveness. But some would agree that that's self-doubt. It depends. You guys let me know when you listen to this and how you feel about this. But I do agree with it to a certain extent. I think self-doubt is very strong because I don't know. It's going to depend. Again, we're only focusing on the sun signs right now. There's so many other variables, but we're going to keep it moving on. We move on to Cancer, Sun. Cancer, this is how they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You're so filled with underlying insecurities that cause you to constantly question them while constantly needing reassurance that they love you. This one got 25 votes. 68% of the pollees agree with this, and 32% said that this is false. Now, I am a Cancer Sun, but I am told that because of my Capricorn moon, that I am unlike most Cancers. It is very true in speaking to individuals that they do think that, I think the misconception, let me go there first, as a Cancer Sun, is that we're going to be crybabies or we're going to cry at the drop of a dime. I'm going to tell you that as a Cancer, I actually resonate more with my Capricorn moon because I've been thrust in the position where I have to deal with that. That's the opposite of Cancer's energy. It is considered in detriment as well because it is the opposite of in its domicile spot, which would be a moon in Cancer. Doesn't necessarily mean that detriments are bad. It just means that it's the opposite of what rules. So for my detrimented Taurus, as I mentioned, it's only in detriment because it is the opposite. It doesn't fall, but yes, it is the opposite. So that can be, it can bring a new perspective to the party. Now, in my own astrology reads with astrologers to me, I am told that I am the mother and the father of the zodiac. And Capricorn moons, shout out to you guys. We have our own story, as with all of the moons. So you can feel me if you're listening. I don't necessarily know if it's because of underlying insecurities, but just like with the Gemini question, I would say that it depends. Cancers we're very open, and we will tell you how we feel. If you are not an individual who is going to tell us how you feel back, or you're not emotionally fluid, where you feel comfortable enough to discuss your feelings, you're going to throw us off, and we're going to need reassurance because now by you not opening up, it has created insecurities. So I don't necessarily think it always lies with a Cancer's underlying insecurities. I think that it depends on the individual that you're attracting. Therefore, insecurity lies in whatever the Cancer feels like they are not getting. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but I guess insecurity is insecurity regardless of whether it's your own or whether insecurity that someone else created. So I guess I would agree with this. I guess I would agree with that, but that's just like with the Gemini question, it is a little suspect, but I do agree with that. Moving on to Leo. Leo, this is how they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You are completely full of yourself. That, as cute as they thought it originally was, they're now seeing it as a huge turnoff. We got 18 votes on this, and 72% agree with this, and 28% say false. Now, what I forgot to tell you guys is that I want to hear why. I want to hear why you feel that. Nobody commented other than the next one, so we're going to keep it moving. I am surrounded by Leos in my family, in my immediate family. My mom is a Leo moon, and I have 3 Leo brothers. On my other side of the family, I didn't grow up with those brothers, but my half brothers, I believe one is a Taurus and one is a Gemini. Completely different energy. But growing up and being raised with Leo individuals and having a mother that was a Leo moon, which explains my Capricorn moon, if you were listening to me in the Cancer and the one previous to this. I do believe that this is true. Now, I know that most of my Leo clients and people that I counsel, you guys don't like that full of yourself, you're so vain. You don't like those assessments of you or those stereotypes. None of us really like our stereotypes. But I think what it is that You need, or there is a perceived need, that thought that you need someone to pay attention to you, or like you constantly carry yourself or do things to your appearance and your hair and your this and the that to get this attention. The analogy that I use in my counseling is that I imagine you guys are on a stage, and it would be, if you didn't have a packed house, how you would feel. Would you feel like no one cared about you, or no one, like what would it do to you personally, other than if 15 people showed up, other than it being a packed house? Think about that question. So you're on a stage giving a performance. We all want someone to come and see us, but with the Leo, if you don't have that packed house at your show while you're on that stage, you may feel a way about it, and you take it personally, rather than just saying, okay, it was an off night, let's see what tomorrow brings. If you get it, you get it. If you know, you know. I have to agree with this, Leo. I know you do not like full of yourself, but you will get individuals that probably will see that as a huge turnoff. But I want to know how you guys feel about this. I mean, ego aside. So we'll see. Moving on to Virgo. This is how they think of you, Virgo. Do you agree with their assessment? You're too critical and overthinking everything, and often making them not good enough or not doing enough. We got 25 votes on this. 80% agree. 20% says no. We got one comment. And shout out to Reclaiming Our Throne, LLC 5342. This individual says, I do. I try not to, but with Libra placements, it's only fair. That is what the individual said. Now, you got 25 votes again. 80% agree, 20% disagree. Me, per se, Virgo, you mean well. You do. But it doesn't come off that way. Now, with me being the Libra rising, I am known with my planets, my sun, moon, and rising, to have a mouth. I do. Like, I think the difference between a person that is known for being able to speak their mind versus a Virgo, just being a regular Virgo sun, no matter what the placements are, it's going to make you critical. I don't know whether I can say too critical, but one of the things that is really difficult for me to understand about you guys' personality is this need for perfection. Not that I don't want to do things the right way, but I understand that perfection doesn't exist. And so if I'm okay with a good job, I think to everyone else that loves you, it comes off as critical. I know a Virgo. I'm not going to say who this individual is. Put her sister in a institution, had to make a decision to institutionalize her sister. It's interesting where your mind goes. I guess in that case, she felt that she decided that she was going to get involved and make a executive decision about what was good for the next person. Perfection doesn't exist. I can't speak to you guys overthinking, but I do know that there's a great deal of emphasis placed on what people think of you. Very similar to Leo. They do things to attract the audience. You do things to get the praise. They want you to tell them how great they are in every kind of way, and whether they look good, their physique. You guys are a little bit more analytical, so to you it makes sense. And I know that's to all of us, but to you it makes sense. It's just like, look, you may be giving somebody a friendly suggestion, but it may come off a completely different way. And as I am raising my daughter to understand that right now, a lot of the times, and I've learned this the hard way as even doing what I do, and it's hard to forget, you're not communicating for you. You're not talking to yourself. You're talking to someone else. And sometimes, unfortunately, perception is reality. So you come off that way and you feel like things are not good enough. I have a client that I work with very, very closely, and she has a Venus Virgo. And she would go as far as making her partner get an AIDS test. I mean, I'm not saying that you should not protect yourself, but she just looked at him one day and was like, you too damn skinny. You need to go and get an AIDS test. Lord Jesus. And bring me back the results, because you looking like you are emaciated and I don't like this, like stuff like that. And the interesting part about that is that she's devastated that he left. I'm not saying that was his breaking point. There's other reasons, but it's things like that could definitely throw a person off. You know, just the way that things are said, because it comes off like it's too critical. And so a person, after hearing that, my goodness, like, this is how I am. But you need an AIDS test to make sure. I mean, y'all different. But I want to hear what your perspective is on it. I kind of agree with this. I don't know about the overthinking, but I know that when you're too critical, because I've been accused of not being too critical, but just even when I open my mouth, I tend to attract people romantically that are just unfortunately overly sensitive, in my opinion. But that's something different. So I can relate to what you guys go through, but I do agree with that. Moving on to Libra. Libra, this is how they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You're constantly feeling sorry for yourself or thinking the world is out to get you. That is completely draining them to be with you. We got 44 votes on this one. 30% of the individuals say that it's true, and 70% of the individuals say that it's false. And we do have one comment. Let's see what we got. Yeah, it was just a face. Shout out to Andrea Grant 3830 3 days ago. She made like a face like for real. I'm assuming that she disagrees with this. As a Libra rising, I'm not going to lie, I kind of disagree with this too. I had never heard that, but I was trying to be fair to everybody, regardless of whether it was my sign or not. I do not feel sorry for myself. As being a Libra rising, that is the last thing, but it could just be, again, my combination of planets. That is furthest from my personality, and even other Libras that I know. I think Libra's issue is they feel sorry for other people, and they champion other people to their own detriment. Sometimes feeling so sorry for them that the person doesn't incorporate or learn the lesson, because Libra is jumping in trying to assist with doing something and balancing those scales, especially in acts of service. Like Libra will come in, and I mean, if you're on their good side, of course. I don't think that I've never seen this, or maybe I've seen it and I don't perceive it this way, so I'm going to disagree. And it looks like 3 people liked it. I haven't been going over the likes, but 3 people obviously liked it, I'm going to say, but this is an overwhelmingly false. Like, this is not even remotely near false. So I'm going to have to disagree with this one. I've never seen that. I don't perceive the feeling that the world is out to get you, and it's draining. If anything, Libra will get on their partner's ass and make it seem like that person is out to get them. But the world, Libras are normally charming. Some people say two-faced, they talk too much. Whatever the shadow is, I don't perceive that as thinking the world is out to get them. So I'm going to disagree with that. Let's move on to Scorpio. Scorpio, this is how they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You try to cover up and hide too much from them, and they just can't trust you. We got 24 votes on this, 4 likes. 67% is true and 33% is false. You know what's interesting about this? I thought this would be a sweep, like Aries. I thought this would be a sweep. I really thought that would be a higher one, like with Virgo. Virgo is like 80-20, and this one is like 67-33. Obviously, it is not completely a sweep, but 67% agree with this. So we obviously got some individuals, happy Scorpio season, who feel that 33% feels like this is false. I want you to understand something, Scorpio. I know you get a bad rap, but we all do, so I don't feel sorry for you in that way. But what I will say is that it should have been honestly 100%. I don't think that you're trying to hide, as I have dealt with Scorpios my whole life. And I have a touch of Pluto in the first house, just a small touch of it. And I actually have Pluto in the second house. Let me just say, like, when it comes down to me having Scorpio in my second house, I'm just going to say how it feels in the second house. I don't need to sit around and talk to anybody about how I feel about myself, my self-esteem, or what type of money I'm making. It's not that I'm hiding it. I just don't feel like it's any of your business. That could be very well your stance. You could be feeling like, I'm not hiding nothing. I'm not telling you because it ain't your damn business. I understand that. Scorpio, where it goes wrong for you, using my example, it's money. Money you really shouldn't talk to nobody about. Like, I've had people that say, what's the big secret? You got some people that just be like, yeah, I make such and such an hour. This is my check and da-da-da. I wasn't raised, first of all, zodiac sign or no zodiac sign, that you discuss that with people. It's none of your business. There's just certain things that you should keep to yourself. However, as an adult, I still feel that way. Why do you need to know how much money I make? Maybe that sounds like Scorpio in the second house. It ain't none of your damn business. So I understand that. So Scorpio, maybe you're try to cover up and hide. Maybe you don't like cover up. Maybe you don't like hide. Maybe you truly feel like if you're not telling somebody something, you don't either trust them enough for them to know, or you feel like it's none of their business. This is when it goes wrong, though. When you're in a relationship romantically, when you shut down and feel like you don't want to tell the other person anything because you no longer trust them, I'm going to give you just a tidbit of advice. Just end the relationship. Because once you get, as a Scorpio, to the point where you don't want to share certain things, and you're naturally secretive. So when you're going to come off like you're covering up and hiding, when it's your nature, but that's a nature you don't want to talk about with people. So when you come off like you are secretive, you're going to create a narrative in your romantic relationships, or any, but I want to focus on romantic, where you can't be trusted. So I can understand why people would feel that way. I mean, when you shut down, it's for a reason. You're naturally secretive again. And I know you may not like secretive. That may sound like that may be off-putting for you guys. But honestly, your nature is your nature. And I have to go through this with the fixed signs all the time. I got fixed energy in my chart, although I am 7 times cardinal all the way down, from Sun all the way down to Venus. But I understand. I get it. And, I have to deal with the same stereotypes that we all do with these zodiac signs. And some of it is true. It's just the way we are wired, So I do agree with this. And it does get to the point where they can't trust you. So I would say that if you are feeling like you are shutting down, the way that, my ex-Scorpio, well, he was a Scorpio rising, did with me, he should have just told me, hey, I can't speak to you anymore. I don't want to talk to you. You don't make me feel X, Y, and Z, and just came clean about it. Because by him saying things like this, oh, well, I felt this way, but I wasn't going to say, I just didn't say nothing. To me, as a grown-ass man, that is completely unacceptable. And a grown-ass woman. I feel like although you are the ones that champion this, I'm just not going to tell you because it's none of your business. I feel like when that feeling includes or involves someone that you are romantically attached to, you gave up those eyes for us. So you have no right to shut the other person out. That's just how I feel, even if it's good, bad, or indifferent. And on the other side of that coin, whoever has done that and made you feel like you have to hide, Scorpio, then I feel like you should just end it with the person. I'm the one that had to walk away from him because he was just, shut down. But then plus, he does have other issues. He just happens to be a Scorpio rising. He's a Pisces sun, and his communication is in detriment. He has Pisces in Mercury. So he doesn't communicate on top of being a Scorpio rising. So moving on, just giving you a little bit of background. This is a fun one. Sagittarius, this is what they think of you or how they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You fill them with too many empty promises that you become unreliable in their eyes. We got 28 votes on this and 3 likes. 54% of people agree with this, Sagittarius, and 46% says no. Again, we're only focusing on Sagittarius sun. I don't necessarily know the unreliability side of a Sag. I love Sagittariuses. Of course, I like every zodiac sign, and there are annoyances in all of them, including my sign. My signs with people and the way my zodiac sign comes off. And remember, guys, no two people are alike because we all were born on the horizon when the sun was on the horizon at a different time. It could be the same day, but it could be a different degree. It could be a different time. That time is going to indicate everything. So that's the reason why you may meet another Sagittarius and be like, I don't act nothing like you. So keep that in mind. But I don't know. I've never met an unreliable Sagittarius. I've met a Sagittarius. You guys are a jack of trade and a master of... Wait, you are jack of trades and a master of none? You could do every damn thing. You can literally look at something and be like, oh, I can do it. I mean, there are other things about you, but this one I was just like, I don't know. My nail tech is a Sagittarius, and when I told her that, she was like, oh my God, Marv, yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was like, that is so true. I mean, she can draw. And then I was joking with her, and I was like, I bet your ass could do construction too. Oh my God, Marv, actually I can. I see, this is what I'm talking about. I knew a Sagittarius. He a dog trainer. He a tow truck driver. He do construction. He doing people's lawns. Like, you guys are the ultimate hustlers. It's true that you got things about you, but this isn't about the stereotypes necessarily, about me telling you, but you come off in other ways. But I've never experienced this. That doesn't mean that it's not some people's assessment. Now, I know you mean well. And a lot of the times you just overextend yourself and you just don't have time to make good on those promises because you're trying to do too many things for too many people. I've always say if you're a Sagittarius, you got a squad. What that means is you always got a squad of people. Big ass families, big friend groups, a bunch of fucking, excuse my language, a bunch of like sisters and cousins. Is a gang of y'all. And if you are like my nail tech, which is the only child, oh my God, she got 1,000,001 friends. It's just, that's just who you guys are. I like that about you guys though. I love me some Sagittarius. I like you guys' energy. You guys are fun to me. I just know where to go. I just know not to, like, romantically. If I deal with a Sagittarius romantically, I'm not falling for you because I know that trying to get you to commit, like, again, you just have to know your audience, like, and know what you're dealing with. Like, this was a conversation that I just had with my nail tech about this, and she says when her clients come in saying that my boyfriend's a Sagittarius, she just be looking like, girl, don't try to get him to commit. And that's a misconception about you guys as well. But I don't know one. I do actually know Sagittarius that got married. But yeah, I would rather not go there. I think you guys are fun though. Moving on. Capricorn. This is how they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You hold too many little grudges over little things and pick unnecessary fights, driving them to resent you. Capricorn, we got 48 votes on this, 2 likes. 42% say true, 58% say false. So 58% obviously disagree with this. I'm going to go in another direction. And Caps, you know I love you because I'm a Capricorn moon. I will agree with this. And I'm going to agree with this as a Capricorn moon. I will hold a grudge. And when I'm not getting what the hell I want, I will pick a fight. I wouldn't say that it's unnecessary. It's justified to me. But yes, we can. And I think this is true with every single zodiac sign. When you want something. So this could just be a Marv thing, but I'm being completely transparent. I have done it. Is it right? Is it right? No. I do hold grudges, but I am the communicator. If you're not, then unfortunately, eventually I'm going to feel like I'm not getting what I want. That we're not talking. So I can't move. I can't grow. I can't evolve. I feel stifled when I can't communicate. When I can't sit down with another adult and say, this is what happened and how do we fix it? So yes, I could see how it could come off like I'm holding grudges over little things and pick unnecessary fights. And yeah, some of my exes, especially this past one, he probably does resent me, but the feeling is mutual. Hence the reason why you walk away from a person. I'm not going to go into, anything too personal, but completely transparent. We keep it all the way 1,000, a buck 1,000 over here on this channel. So, I wanted to get the conversation going. I want to know how you guys feel about this. I don't think that Capricorns in general have like broke the mold on holding grudges over little things and picking unnecessary fights. I think that any person that is not being heard, not feeling validated, not getting what they want, is going to eventually feel like this. And then when you feel like you're not being heard, you're going to hold a grudge or whatever it is. It's going to make you hold a grudge. And unknowingly, see, I know this about myself because I've observed my own behavior in an effort to grow and evolve from that behavior. So yes, over the years, as I have grown and evolved into the woman that I am now, of course, absolutely, I'm sure I've drove people nuts, especially in this last relationship. Guys, that was a 6-year relationship. He drove me nuts. So yes, I did hold grudges, and I'm sure we all do. But Capricorn, do I think that this is synonymous with your zodiac sign? No. Honestly, I feel like Capricorn suns, and of course this is very general because everybody's different depending on your degrees and what house is in, and it depends on what's driving that energy. What's your moon? What's your Venus? But generally speaking, Capricorn ain't about to sit around and argue with you. Bye. Chuck the deuces. Goodbye. So as a moon that is in detriment, being the opposite of where it is domicile place, which is Cancer, that's what the detriment means. I probably am the worst because I'll hold grudges and pick unnecessary fights and still break up with your ass. So like I got all of that wrapped into one, so it's not good. Moving on, Aquarius. This is how they think of you, Aquarius. Do you agree with their assessment? You close off your heart and pretend you don't have feelings because you don't want to be vulnerable. But all this does is make them walk away because you won't open up. All right, Aquas, we got 21 votes on this, 2 likes. 76 individuals, 76% of the individuals of the 21 votes think that this is true. 24% think that it is false. Unfortunately, I know all too well about Aquarians. I'm going to leave that alone. I do unfortunately agree with this. And it's funny because the Aquarians, they don't think that they do this. I think that the problem is this is fixed air. So there is this thing of I feel what I feel. Okay, think about your zodiac sign. Think about your element. Think about what you need to stimulate you and think about that. So when we look at that in terms of Aquarius, first of all, if you're an Aquarius sun, I believe that you are, hold on, let me look this up because I'm feeling like it's in detriments. I know Libra falls in the sun, which kind of sucks. The sun is about power. It's dad. It's patriarchy. It's visibility. The sun is about your future and your projection about the future. The sun in detriment, people live in opposition to those things. They do not accept your attention, and they resist being seen, and they resist the idea that the future can never be predicted. So this is why I believe, yes, if you have a sun in Aquarius, it is in detriment. And I, again, believe if you are a Libra sun, it falls. So if you look at that, then you would understand, right? So let's get into this really quick before I get into that. So it's the sun is detriment in Aquarius. The sun is exalted in Aries, and the sun falls in Libra. So, I mean, when you think about that, then that should understand, you should be able to understand it. It just means that, like I just read, it's the opposite of that. So, you know, the sun is domicile in Leo, and it's in its detriment here. Now, I'm not going to say that there's anything necessarily wrong with a detriment. It's just the opposite of the energy, just like my moon. So my moon, a moon in Cancer would be a little bit more open and this and that, but my Capricorn moon shuts down, being the opposite and being considered in detriment, gets to the bag. It's just like, okay, F all this other stuff. Okay, let's put the feelings to the side for a second. How do we fix it? And that pisses people off. Then I get the labels. I'm uncaring. I'm this and I'm that. So I understand how you guys work, Aquarius. And then you guys are, you know, you guys are after Capricorn. So I kind of get that as well. I do agree with this, though. I agree with this because the opposite of opening up and, you know, showing and being vulnerable like a Leo can do when they're in love, you do the opposite. You won't open up, but you feel so deeply. With me having a Cancer in the Capricorn, a Cancer sun and a Capricorn moon, for example, although my moon is the opposite of, you know, where it would be comfortable, which would be Cancer, my Cancer sun balances it out. If you are just an Aquarius and you don't have anything to balance that out, then you're not going to understand the other side of your opposition, your ops. So I do agree with this. I hope that that made sense. I think that you can push some people away, but because people actually have to fight you for your heart. And actually all of the fixed signs, but especially you and Scorpio, you make a person work for that shit. Like, you're just like, break down this door. This door is buried. It is cemented. It's under concrete. Like, y'all make people really work. And you're hiding and constantly pulling your heart away. But you already love the person. It's such a contradiction that only you would understand. Moving on to Pisces, this is how they think of you. Do you agree with their assessment? You're always still asking for more, in turn making them feel inadequate because they feel they can't make you happy. I was actually shocked when I saw this with Pisces, but before I get into my commentary, let's get into the stats. 13 votes on this, 4 likes, no comments. We got 46% saying it's true, but 54% saying that it's false. I have to agree with you guys. I don't necessarily think, I disagree with this. I feel like when they ask for more, it doesn't make, sorry that they're drag racing outside my house. I don't think that it makes people feel inadequate. I guess it can make people feel inadequate. I do agree that you can come off like you're never happy because it's never enough. Because you live in the delusion, unfortunately, or the fantasy that is in your head, and a lot of times that just doesn't translate into reality. You end up deceiving yourself, unfortunately, and you mean well. There's so many things that you want to do. It makes you guys great, but the reality of it is that your delusions, or I hate to say delusion, I'm not trying to be insulting, but let's face it, Pisces, you guys are ruled by Neptune. So, like I said, we keep it a hundred and a buck over here, a buck thousand. So we are who we are, and Neptune creates these false narratives and the illusions and the delusions. Although Neptune can be great, but Neptune isn't known for its keeping it real and its reality-based thoughts. That's what makes you a Pisces. So with that being said, I do understand why people would think that, but I don't agree. I'm going to have to join this 54% that disagree. I don't think you're asking for more, because that should make a person feel inadequate, although obviously it can. I think that when you ask for more, you just love the person and you want more. I think that you're always still asking for more is partially the fact that you want more of the person that you are connected to. But I think that the other side of the coin is that you never are satisfied yourself, because every time you create this narrative that is going to be one way and it doesn't work out exactly the way you planned it in your head, you always end up chasing and asking for more, because it never quite turns out, because there's a reality about the situation, unfortunately, that you're missing. And I think that that's probably what I would say, but that's not what the question said, so I'm going to have to disagree with this as well. I like these polls, guys. I'm going to do a part 2 about this and post one more thing, or I may post the whole narrative out there just to see, and then I'm going to ask you if you agree. Because there is a whole thing out here about you're lonely. And I don't agree with what I read, but it's interesting to see what you guys feel about it. So this concludes the poll. Thank you guys for your patience. You're going to see your videos coming in. They are trickling in right now, guys, especially last week. The next 2 videos, the 15th through the 22nd, as well as the 22nd through the 29th, are going to be in podcast version. Thank you guys for lending me your ear. But let me know. I want to read the comments and see how you guys feel. And we'll go from there. Bye, guys.